Yogi Clan, welcome back to Yogi Cycle Service. So it's been a minute. I haven't been bringing you very much videos here lately. It's because I've been busy. I think I told you that a few weeks to a month ago that I had a lot of projects coming up. Yes, I am knee deep in all of them. I kind of want to use today to tell you a really funny story about something that's been going on. And I want to show you, for those of you who are subscribers to Yogi Cycle Service, I kind of wanted to give you an update of where I'm at on some of these projects. So I thank you for joining me. If you're not a subscriber, what are you doing? Give a brother some love, surf around, check out some of my other videos. This one's more geared towards those who's a subscriber and just a fun story time. So before we get into the story, let me kind of give you an update where we're at. I got all the hardwoods ripped out of my house, got all new flooring put in. I would show you that now, but I still have to put the shoe mold down. So I want to put the shoe mold down before we do the review or before we do the final showing of the flooring. It's nothing really special, but we redid the entire first floor of the house, pulled everything out and then put all new flooring in. So that is done with the exception of the quarter round, like I said, down at the bottom, shoe mold type stuff. But I've also been working on my deck. As you can see by the way I'm dressed, today is another deck day. And it is hot as probably hot could be. So I'm out here on the deck. The next step I have to do is paint the vertical post. After I get those painted, it's a white solid color stain. I can set the deck rail and then put the cap on, put a new handrail on. Let's show you before and then we'll show you in progress. So embarrassingly enough, 3, maybe 4 years ago, I started redoing this deck and I never finished it. I pulled it all completely apart, back down to all the subframe, put an all new deck on top, started the handrails, kind of stopped with handrails, stained the top, but it's time to restain it again. But I had a buddy about 2 years ago come over and start the handrails. The problem is I didn't have the pickets to do the pickets. So I got handrail, it's a 4x4 with a top cap on it with no pickets. And I hadn't finished staining the staircase that goes down on either side. So I got that. So with the Trump stimulus of beginning of last year, my wife ordered pickets. So I have now assembled some of the handrails. I'm assembling it as like a panel. And then I'm gonna pull the top cap off and then set these panels in place and then put a new top handrail cap on. There is an example of one of the panels. You can see I got some of these panels built, ready to go, but I need to paint the 4x4s that same white solid color stain and pull this top rail off. So before I set those panels today, I'm gonna stain that a solid color stain. So that's what's on the agenda today. Get those stained, get the panels set, and then get the top rail on. Because we got a daughter that's getting ready to have a wedding shower here shortly. But that's not what I wanted to talk to you about today. What I got to talk to you about is a funny story time. And we'll probably do this somewhat as I am working. So join me for some story time. So my story really kind of starts as a wee young lad, all right? So I was born in 71. And in the 70s, for those who lived during that time period, you remember about the Cold War, us versus Russia. And you know, there's lots of movies about it, including that movie, was it Wolverine, where it was the kids in high school, Russia was invading, or Hunt for Red October, Rocky when he was fighting the big blonde-haired Russian guy. It all kind of started with them. I've always had a fascination with Russia. And when we went to do our adoptions, you know, it was kind of a cool thing being behind the Iron Curtain, because that's what it was formerly known as. To adopt Charlotte and Atticus, I guess in summer of 2012, there was a host program in Raleigh. We met a young man named Vanya, who was from Ukraine. And his orphanage, or internat as they call it, was in a town in the area of Crimea, which those of you who follow world history know that is currently Russian territory, right above the Black Sea, just straight above Turkey. So when we went to go meet Charlotte and Atticus, we find out that the same town that they're in is the same town that Leo was in. Or, sorry, that Vanya was in, who later became Leo because we adopted him. So one day, while we had some time, we went to go visit Leo, or Vanya, we went to go visit Vanya at the orphanage, or internat as they call it. And that particular day was a spring cleanup day for all the kids. They're busy painting the sidewalks, cleaning up the areas, pulling out shrubs and bushes, and just cleaning up the whole property. So naturally, we took pictures. And there's a lot of funny things that happen with some of these pictures. So the first picture I'll show you is us with some of the older kids, plus the lady who's the director of the orphanage. If ever I were to have a mental image of a director of a Ukrainian orphanage, the picture I'm about to show you is the epitome of that mental image. So while we're at the orphanage, this lady is my, I'm thinking, when you think of orphanage director growing up in the time period that I did of the Cold War, I'm thinking like Cruella de Vil. I'm thinking like 101 Dalmatians type person. It's like your mental image of a Ukrainian / Russian, because let's face it, Ukraine used to be part of Russia, right? So most of the people there speak Russian. So when you're thinking, I'm going to be an orphanage director, you're picturing a very Russian-looking, strong-looking Russian woman, right? At least that's my mental image. So at this trip, funny enough, the picture that I just showed you, if you notice the girl in the pink at the bottom of the picture, I got a story to tell you about her too. Just keep that mental image in your mind. So there, now I set the stage for the story. I'm talking about a Ukrainian orphanage director, all right? So last weekend, my wife comes to me and goes, hey Tim, because every summer and every winter we host kids from different orphanages from Ukraine and or Latvia. So we had the opportunity to host this summer. But as it be, it didn't work out like planned. So last weekend we get a phone call from a fellow named John. John is now the head of Open Hearts and Homes, the agency we host through. And John says, I know you didn't host any kids. How would you like to host a director for a week? To which my wife was like, sure, I guess so. Well, you know what the first image in my head was. Yeah, Cruella de Vil. I'm going to have Cruella de Vil coming to stay with us for a week. So, Monday of this week, she arrived. She was not Cruella de Vil. Matter of fact, we had a great time. Very nice, very great lady. But the funny story I wanted to tell you is about the girl in the pink. So while we were at the internat in 2012, visiting Vanya, we met this girl, the one in pink, and her name was Luda. And we wound up kind of hanging with her for the day and got to know her a little bit. So we completed that adoption, I guess, around May of 2012. Well, fast forward a couple months later to July of 2012, and there's an opportunity for us to host. The child who came up available was Luda. We never thought it was the same child. When she gets off the plane, we're like, we didn't put two and two together that we met her, because we didn't really talk to her that much when we were in the country on that first trip. We were more there focused on Vanya because we were thinking about adopting him. Well, Luda comes for a hosting, and guess who gets to host her? We do. And we quickly realize, we've met you before. So while we're hosting, we dig through the pictures and look through, and sure enough, it's her. Same girl from the internat with the picture with the super crazy looking director, who is just the stereotypical, what I vision in my head, Ukrainian / Russian orphanage director. But as I learned this weekend, you can't judge a book by its title, because the lady who stayed with us, she was in her late 30s, early 40s, very kind lady, very nice lady. My wife and her, I think, had a really good week together, and it's important to show that we as a group are who we say we are, because we're hosting their kids. You don't want some crazy people hosting your kids, right? So why they chose me, I don't know. But it was truly a blessing this week to have her with us. Story about Bronwyn and not knowing her and meeting her. When you get involved in the adoption community, you never know, what's coming down the pike and where this journey is going to take you. Never in my life did I ever think I would have a Ukrainian orphanage director crashed at my house for a week. But you know what? It was such a blessing. So that is how Bronwyn and Leo became part of our family. What?
What up, what up, what up?
What up, man?
What up?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Welcome, my man Gideon, coming to see us. Welcome. Sorry, I was just finishing making a video.
Gotcha.
I'm up to 5,000 subs now. What's up, man? It's good to see you. Yeah, we're working. Here, let me shut this down and we'll go inside where I can get some air for a second.
Oh yeah.
Later, y'all.